So the next type of problem that we see has the absolute value of x in the or the x in the absolute value bars, but also other operations happening inside these absolute value bars. So we can't just take this 4 and add it to both sides of the equation because we need to do the work inside the absolute value bars. Now there's no number being multiplied or added to the absolute value bars, only inside. So at this stage, what we can do is we can actually, erase that, we can actually take this number that's inside the absolute value bars and set it equal to 22 and negative 22 because we want to find out the number that makes x, that when we multiply it by 2, take away 4, equal to either 22 or negative 22. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to set the 2x minus 4 equal to negative 22 because the absolute value of negative 22 will equal 22. But also we're going to take this and set it equal to positive 22. And what we'll get from this is the two values of x that make this statement true. And so we're going to solve an equation, well, two equations simultaneously. That'll make the problem go a little quicker. So the first thing to do is just add the 4 to both sides. So I can do this now because I'm trying to find the two values that make x 22 or negative 22. So I'm going to add 4 to 22, and I'm also going to add 4 to the negative 22. So when I do that, go ahead and do the subtraction here because they're opposite in sign. I end up with a negative 18. And I still have this 2x, but I no longer have the 4 here because this 4 canceled out. Now on this side, I have to add because they're the same sign, so I end up with a 26. So from this point, almost there, all I have to do to find the two values of x that make this statement true is divide by 2. So I do it to all sides because I want to, again, find the two values that make it either negative 22 or positive 22. So when I do that division, I'm left here with a negative 9 equals x. And on the other side, I have it equal to 13. So there's my two numbers. If I put a negative 9 in for this x, I multiply by 2, I get negative 18. And then I take away 4 from negative 18, I get negative 22, which is what I was looking for on this side. And the absolute value of it will equal 22. Now if I take this 13 and I put it back in for this x, multiply it by 2, I get 26. 26 minus 4 makes 22. Take the absolute value of a positive 22 like I did here, I also get 22. So I've got two numbers, and they're not the same, the number and its opposite anymore. It's two totally different numbers, negative 9 and 13. And then I'll just put some braces around it to show that that's my solution set. Those are the two numbers that make this system true. Well, we'll add a little bit more to the next problem by adding an extra term to it. And let's say we try this one here. Let's go with we'll go with a 3 plus, and then we have this absolute value bar here. And we've got an x plus 4. And we'll set this equal to 9. So in this case, now it's different because I've got an extra number being added to the absolute value. So if something's being done, and being done, what I mean is an operation is occurring to the absolute value, like we have here, I need to remove that number first. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this 3 and we're going to subtract it from all sides. And so when I do that, I'm still left with a x plus 4, and that goes inside some absolute value bars. And on the other side, it all equals 6. So now I'm ready to solve this. See, now I have the absolute value isolated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this absolute value of x plus 4 and I'm going to set it equal to the two numbers that we can have to make 6 when we take its absolute value, and that's negative 6 and positive 6. So I just take what's inside the absolute value bars, the x plus 4, and I'm setting it equal to 6 and equal to negative 6 to find the values of x that either make it negative 6 or make it positive 6 when I add 4. So now I'll go ahead and do the opposite operation. Take away the 4 from both sides. What I'm left with is an addition problem and a subtraction problem. See, over on the left-hand side, they're the same sign, so I have to add the two numbers, so I end up with a negative 10. And on the other side, I have to subtract, because they're opposite signs. I end up with a positive 2. And so that's my answer. I end up with a negative 10 and a positive 2. And those are the two values of x that make that statement true. So the key is always to isolate the absolute value. Once we've isolated the absolute value, then we can set what's inside the absolute value equal to the number that we have here, 6 in this case, and negative 6. So the last part, we're going to see a situation where we don't have two answers. Every time we've had two answers, but sometimes we can have one answer or no answers at all. And so we'll see those other two situations in part 3.